So, how was your life at JBIMS? How did you have your classes, presentations, and all? So, we get to know how was it in 1995.
It was a lot different than what I see here.
Welcome to Wealth Creators Podcast. Today we have pleasure hosting Mr. Rajesh Minocha, who is a certified financial planner and holds an MBA from JBIMS. He's a financial expert, entrepreneur, and an author of 3 of the books which we have on our table. And so, before starting this podcast and episode, can you just introduce yourself to our audience?
Okay, thank you, Kalpesh. It's been great visiting Bajaj once again. As you mentioned, I'm from the batch of 1995. I have worked for 21 years across different organizations, starting with ICICI, and then I worked in a few technology firms focusing on finance and banking. Finally, for last 10 years, I was with Franklin Templeton, and that really changed my perspective about finance. I understood the kind of mistakes I was doing, being a finance professional also. Then I realized the importance of goal planning. So I worked towards retirement, and I worked my financial goals with the objective of retiring early. Thankfully, crisis happened in between 2008 crisis that helped me retire even early. So I retired at the age of 45 years in the year 2016, end of 2016. And that's when I decided to do things on my own, which I enjoy. Because typically when you are working, then you have to do what is expected out of you. You may or may not like it. So by that time I'd realized I used to informally interact with people, help them on their finances. I felt this is something I like. So I decided to then get into this profession. So I got myself qualified as a certified financial planner while being in Franklin Templeton itself. And then that was the time when I said that now I'm leaving and I will decide things on my terms, that people will come to me. I will not go to people. I will work from home. That's what I continue to do now. This is the pre-COVID time period where working from home was not even known. Yes. So you can say I'm the kind of person who started that trend. And I have an office within my home, and I don't meet clients in person. 100% of my profession is through reference. It's been going on great. At the end of the day, I'm now getting this satisfaction that I'm helping people in terms of getting their finances set up, and many people are now thankful that I've done it for them. Otherwise there's a lot of mis-selling which happens in our industry. I've been a victim of that too. So I would say now is the time. What is giving me satisfaction which was lacking when I was working. So this is my second innings now. It's been 8 years and I'm enjoying it the way I'm doing it right now.
So it's great, like having a corporate journey to entrepreneurship at like this age, and that having that mindset is really brilliant.
Yeah, so thank you. So I think it's been great actually, in terms of doing this now, because the satisfaction is immense.
Right.
So because at the same time there's also a responsibility, because if anything goes wrong, especially for someone not earning well, their whole life is going to get spoiled. Right. So there is a lot of responsibility now on top of me that whatever I do, it should go right for people. And so far, it's all been good with the kind of feedback I get from people. So I'm pretty happy now. Right. Yeah, but that responsibility is extremely high, because when you're working for a company, you're responsible only for your work. But now I'm responsible for 400 families.
Right. You know how to manage their wealth and finances for the proper.
Right.
So after spending complete 2 decades into the corporate world, what made you transition your career into starting your own company, Financial Radiance?
Okay. As I mentioned, my last job was with Franklin Templeton, and I was at a very senior global role wherein I set up a legal offshoring team in India for the first time outside the US. It had never been done in the past. They had not moved out of the US, and first time we had to do things right. So it was a big thing for the company, saved them huge amount of money by getting the paralegals, etc. In spite of me not being from that background, I interviewed a lot of people. I did that and learned something about legal which I'd never done it in the past, and this was a big kind of a thing. But at the end of the day, I was not getting any satisfaction. While the company was saving money, I was feeling, what am I doing? And it was a global role. It meant interacting with people late in the night. If I was talking to US, early in the morning it was Hong Kong. So it was impacting my health. Right. And I was into tablets for diabetes as well as cholesterol because of that and the stress. Right now, I'm off tablets for the last 3 years. No stress, no tablets. And I've changed some of my food habits, so that has really got me done. So I had realized that if I don't move out now and do something which I enjoy, it will become very difficult for me and my health also. So that was what prompted me actually to get started and do some value add, which people can remember me for. Otherwise when you're working for yourself or for your family. Now I'm working for many, many families actually. So that's been my bigger aim actually right now, what I'm doing.
So can you share about your mission and vision about the Financial Radiance, your company?
Okay, so it's basically providing financial freedom to my clients all over the world. That I would say is my mission, which I really want to do it. Understanding people's problems and providing them solutions based on their objectives in life, whether it is their own retirement or say education of children. So based on that, help them achieve their goals. That is my main thing. In fact, if you were to ask me, in my 6th year, I write a blog every year on my website to speak about my positives and misses during the year. I've been doing it every year for last 8 years. In my 6th year, I mentioned that my vision is to make 50 millionaires, dollar terms, and 200 crorpatis in India during the lifetime of my profession. And I am working towards that. I work and provide that information every year in terms of how many it has been done. So while the numbers are very small right now, I'm very confident with the compounding, I will actually exceed that number. So I'm working with that objective in mind, that I have to make so many dollar millionaires and crorpatis just based on their investments.
So it's so great to know that what's the mission vision of the Financial Radiance.
Yes, and many times people ask me, now that I've grown big in this industry, whether I have any minimums in terms of how much minimum money I need, then only I'm going to onboard people. I tell them upfront, there is no minimum. I've got people starting very low. I've got people investing a huge amount of money also. But people need to be aligned with my thought process. If they're coming to me with the expectation of so much returns, because they're getting that much, say with somebody else, I said, then I don't want you. I want people who are aligned with my thought process, that their goals are going to get achieved. Returns are not under my control. That's under the control of the environment and the fund manager. But what I'm going to do is ensure they meet their goals. So as long as people are aligned with it, I'm okay with it, in terms of their investing.
So as you told us that you are a pass out of JBIMS in 1995. So how was your life at JBIMS? How did you have your classes, presentations and all? So we'll get to know how was it in 1995.
It was a lot different than what I see here. There were no laptops that time. They used to be desktops, just about 8 or 10 of them in one room, out of which half of them were non-functional. Those desktops didn't have a hard disk. We used to have those very small floppy drives of 1.2 MB or 1.44 MB, which used to have a software, an equivalent of MS Word, similarly an equivalent for MS Excel called Lotus 123, and equivalent for PowerPoint called Harvard Graphics. We used to put that floppy inside, let it boot, take out that floppy, put another floppy, do our work, take a printout, go outside, take a printout of that to a shop. Then we used to have transparency sheets, that take that printout, transpose it onto the transparency sheet, come back to college. There used to be an OHP projector. I don't think that projector will even be there just now. Put it up on that, do your presentation. Because those transparency sheets were so expensive, we also had a liquid where we had to clean that and then reuse that transparency sheet at least for 7 to 8 times. After that, it just was not working. So that was the kind of work we used to do. Some people were very lucky to have desktops in their homes. So then whenever project groups were being formed, they were the people who were in big demand. Desktops were about 50 to 60,000 rupees that time. It was very expensive cost. Just to give you a perspective, our semester fees were about 6,000 rupees that time. So desktop was for 60,000 rupees. So it was so expensive. Most people were not able to afford, but whoever had it was in big demand actually for that purpose. To make our life simpler. Otherwise, we had to do the work in the college and basically do all the presentations there.
Now at the times, all of the guys have laptops and the complete tech.
All of you are so lucky now. Yeah, so we have gone through that, and but then it was a very different experience. I mean, it helped us actually quite a lot to stay aligned, and the kind of education what Bajaj provided. I mean, we had these kind of presentations. Not many colleges actually did even this also. Yes. So while it was a struggle for us, but we are very thankful that we have gone through that. That really helped us long term actually. Now of course things have become much simpler from that perspective. Yeah, but we still remember those days. Yeah.
Sir, you have conducted numerous sessions on personal finance in India. What motivates you to educate people in personal finance?
Okay, let me answer this in a very different manner. Unfortunately, personal finance is a subject which is not taught in schools. People are taught all sorts of subjects which they may not ever use ever in their life. But personal finance is something, whether you are from finance background or not, you have to manage your own money. You can't say that I don't understand finance, if you're a computers person or say you're a civil engineer.
Yes.
Eventually you have to manage your own money. That's a subject which is not taught. Even in good colleges also, this subject is never taught. That's an unfortunate reality. So many people end up making mistakes, and there are a lot of players who really, missell, and many people get into that. So the objective what I had was, let's educate people in terms of what's the right things to do, what are things which they should not do. Honestly, I have been missold too. In spite being from finance background, I've done MBA in finance from Bajaj. I've done mistakes in the past. I've been sold certain products which I shouldn't have bought. I've gone through that. So if somebody from finance background can go through it, what about people who are not from finance background? What they would be going through. So that's what actually really prompted me that I have to educate people. And whenever corporates contact me and they say that they found me on LinkedIn, they want me to do a session, are you interested? I said, yeah, sure, I'll do it. They asked me, how much will you charge? I said, education is free. I don't charge anything. While I know how much is my cost, I don't charge for education. It's all free. They get very surprised. Sometimes I do feel people may not value free advice, but still I continue to do it because it gives me the satisfaction, and perhaps some of them will remember what I had told them and not get trapped into some of the products which are sold to them. So that's been my intention. It gives me a lot of satisfaction there as well. I've done a lot of sessions, and including a session here in Bajaj also a few years back, and yeah, responses I get is very phenomenal in terms of the sessions I do. There is no product selling, nothing at all. It's pure education, and it gets me that satisfaction of having done that education.
Right, the personal satisfaction is much more important than any amount of the money.
Right.
So you have written 3 books on retirement and financial planning. What is the key learning you wanted to give us from these books?
Okay. Each of these books have had a purpose. whenever I've been talking to clients, I understand what kind of things they want to do in life. Each one of them have some goals, etc., what they want to do, and they have not been able to follow up. And I advise them personally in terms of how things have to be done. But then one thought which I got was that these are only the people who are coming to me, only my clients, just 400 families or so, I've been able to kind of educate. So why not have a way of writing a book wherein more and more people get to know in terms of how things have to be done. So I came up with this first book, Retire on Your Terms. So that this is the book wherein I started with my own story. So the first chapter is about my own story in terms of how I planned my retirement. So my background, how I planned my retirement, and how things are possible, and you can do it if you start doing the right things. While I've been investing right from the second month of I started working. First month was providing gifts to my families, and second month was when I started investing. I'd made mistakes, but the fact was I was still saving money. It helped. So I start with that, and then eventually when I realized the way things have to be done, I structured the things and focused based on my goals. So the first chapter basically talks about that and some of the health related challenges, etc., which I had. And then I decided to leave the corporate life after my financial freedom, basically telling people that it is achievable. You can leave early. I left my corporate job at the age of 45 years. I am a big spender on education for my children. I don't want to compromise, but otherwise my needs are very limited. I have money for everything else, but I don't want to spend, because it's not my way of doing things. But education, I've been spending a lot because I truly believe in that. That's what my parents provided to me. So I want to pass on that. When the money was less, they provided me the best of education. Now I have much more money, but still education is what I will provide to them, the best of it, so global education, etc. So that they've been going through that. So then I talk about all the non-financial aspects of retirement, that there's nothing about finance in this book. Only one chapter, how do you calculate how much money you need for retirement? That's the only thing financially here. Other things are non-financial aspects, that what will you do after you retire? Because you still have 40 years of life if you retire early. What do you do? Because if you don't do anything, you're going to have health issues. Right. So basically talking about those kind of things, what are the advantages, disadvantages of retirement, what are the mistakes which people do during retirement, and getting people prepared for it. So basically that's the gist of the first book. Then I had the second book, Second Innings on Your Terms. So this is basically for people that now that you have retired, what do you do now? What are the things? What are the things you should not be doing? Now whether you have got any social work related kind of things you want to do, how do you really plan that? I mean, retirement is not about just sleeping and watching TV. You have to do something relevant, etc. So this book gives various options in terms of what all you can do. If you're an adventurous person, then there are certain things what you can do, and it gets into all those kind of details. Third book is again my favorite book, Purpose Beyond Paychecks. So here essentially what I'm targeting is, based on my conversation with a lot of my clients, that they are under stress because they don't have a good boss. It's been very toxic. Then they have purchased houses which were much beyond their capability because loan was available, but then they wanted a bigger house even though they could not afford it. Then EMIs became big. Now they are working for the bank, they are not working for themselves, which means they are not able to leave their jobs because what will happen to their EMIs, etc. So that is there. Then other responsibilities are there, like children education, etc. So what happens is their passion actually then just remains. I mean, some of my clients I've spoken to, they're working in the IT sector, but they want to be a farmer. And farming is their passion. So some people have education as their passion. They want to teach. And they want to do that because that's what they like. Like that, many people have told me very different passions, not related in any way to what they are doing. They are doing the coding, which is, they don't like it because of the different hours of jobs, etc. But, they are not enjoying that. But still, they can't leave it. And their passion actually remains somewhere hidden. And they are not able to actually get that out. By the time all their responsibilities are done, it's already too late, they're into the comfort zone. And then once people retire, that's the time when they think that I wish I had done this, that would have given me happiness. So I'm trying to actually through this book tell people identifying your passion and how you can actually merge both the things together. And that's why, where career meets calling is what I'm really looking at, where you are able to merge both the things together and then do something what you enjoy.
Right.
So that's the purpose actually of the third book, which I've written. And I mean, so with writing these books, my objective is more and more people actually get it. But books, of course, is a very, very different kind of a thing. I would say writing a book is much easier for me rather than getting the book actually, sold. Yeah, so, but then it's been great, and I'm sure many people will continue to read. I'm getting excellent feedback on my first book on Amazon. All books are available globally. And so ebooks also, paperback, and now even I've experimented with an audiobook actually with the third one also. Yeah, so all those things are happening, and I'm sure more and more people will read it. First book has actually done pretty well.
Right.
So that's been my objective actually of writing the book.
Current batches of JBIMS will surely going to read this book.
Yeah,
right?
so I'm leaving my author signed copies here in the library. Whoever
Sure.
wants to read it should definitely read this and then take it forward from there. Yeah.
So, do you have any mentors who have played pivotal roles in your career?
Yes, I do. When I was working in Franklin Templeton, I had a financial advisor. Even though I understood about mutual funds, the fact that I'm in the same industry working in mutual fund, but I realized my job is hectic. I can't manage my funds on my own, so I had a financial advisor whose job was on that. He knew about my goals in terms of what I want to do. He, in fact, helped me in terms of structuring my thought process, and he understood this is my passion as well, being in the industry. So when I was leaving, he invited me to his office and he said, you stay with us for 2 to 3 days. He was in Nagpur, so I'd gone there. He actually provided me a walkthrough of everything, the practical ways of doing things, helping me out, so that I understand that this is how I'm getting into and this is what we do. Because our industry is a lot more different. When I was in the corporate environment, I realized people were hoarding information. They will not want to share information. They see each other as competitor and they don't want to share that information. Our industry is such wherein we don't see ourselves as competitors. India is a huge market and we cater to people all over the world. So we are not competitors. We keep helping each other grow, and we tell them that this is how I have done things. You might want to try if it works for you, unlike what we had in the corporate environment. So it's very different. So while I have been mentored by a few people, whenever I have questions on the succession planning of my business, etc., I reach out to people who have already done that. I myself, I'm mentoring around 10 to 15 people right now who are new into the industry. They talk to me, they say, what are the things you do? How do you have a business which is 100% through referrals? Because I don't go out of my home, so I do everything digitally, 100% digital. There is no paperwork at all. It's all digital. And they get very surprised because they travel a lot, whole day, and they meet people. So I said, that's now really not required. And now, in fact, my employees, my staff members are also working from their respective homes. So things have worked out very well. So they work from their homes, I work from my home. I've converted one floor actually into an office, and only I sit there knowing very well nobody is going to come and meet me, but still I wanted that office kind of an environment, especially when it's a video call. I do that, and similarly with my team members, I reach out for half an hour. Everything is on technology, so I can see dashboards, I can see where all things are happening, and it can be done nowadays. And after the COVID, it's become much easier for people to accept also. I've been doing like this even before COVID, but now it's much more acceptable. In fact, I was in Hyderabad for about 15 years and 5 years of my practice was in Hyderabad. So when I was moving from there, I reached out to each of my clients and I told them that I'm moving to Greater Noida because I need to be closer to parents and in-laws because they're getting old, etc. After the COVID, which had happened, we felt the need. The response I got was, anyways, we were not meeting in Hyderabad. So whether you are here or anywhere else, it doesn't matter. So now also I continue to get referrals also from Hyderabad because I've known people there. People in North India don't even know I exist because I don't go out of my home. So things happen automatically and things can be done that way. So it's a very different way of practice which I'm doing it. And I've been very fortunate that it's been successful for me. I'm already amongst the top 1% in India now. In terms of the funds which I manage close to 200 crores of retail assets. These are not HNIs. Some HNIs are there, but they came to me. I didn't go to them. They came to me. So, but across 400 families, and it's been going on very well, and it is just growing on its own. The compounding is now happening, like how compounding happens for their portfolio. Same compounding then happens at my end also. Because only if my clients grow, I will grow.
Right.
So that's how the things are done. And the referrals also, there's a compounding happening now because it's gone to the 7th and the 8th level in terms of referral, providing one reference, then that person providing another reference, etc. So now there also the compounding is happening. So it's been working out great actually for everyone. And that's what I'm enjoying.
So what are the common myths that people have about financial freedom, and how is Financial Radiance is helping them?
Okay, so financial freedom, there are a lot of myths, and I just want to speak to just a few of them. There are actually many more than this. So one of the myths is that you really need a lot of money, and people feel that if they have got enough money, they will be financially free. That I would say by itself is a big myth, because how much is enough? Because if you're retiring early, you have to plan for a much longer duration, and that too inflation adjusted expenses. So you will need a lot more money versus if you were, say, retiring at the age of 60. So that becomes very important, that it's not about money. You need to have things which are associated with, having different passive streams of income. The moment you see that your inflation adjusted income, inflation adjusted expenses, the moment you see that to be greater than your income, right, that is when you are financially free. Income is your passive income, what you will generate anyways when you are not working. It could happen, say, by way of returns on your mutual fund investments, or if you have written books, the royalty you get from the books, or it could be anything else like training programs, what you do, and there is an arrangement that you get paid based on some X factor from there. So these are the different ways in which you can have different streams of income. So only if those streams of income is greater than your inflation adjusted expenses, then you are financially free. It's not that if you have X amount of money, you are financially free. That is one myth. Second myth is it happens overnight. Many people say when they start working that, this is at the age of 60, I still have 30 years. There is enough time and I will be able to do that time. It doesn't work that way. The shorter the time period is there for investments, the larger is the amount of money you need. Right. Otherwise, with just about 5,000, 10,000 rupees a month, if a person was to start early, person can easily retire by the age of 45, 50. As I mentioned, I made some mistakes, but still I retired at the age of 45, to get my goals done. Now, whatever I'm earning, it's all extra. Perhaps I'm going to have a third innings, maybe after another 10, 15 years. And I'm already started thinking on that, what I'm going to do next. Because whatever I'm earning now is all extra, right, because my goals are done, and the retirement and all is taken care. So it doesn't happen overnight. You have to start, and it's not that you need a lot of money to start. Whatever is available, start with that. Get into the discipline of investing. That's all what is needed, and do it goal based, not when there is enough money or you see the markets up and down, taking any decisions on that. So that's what is very important. So it doesn't happen overnight. That's one myth. Third is it's only for the rich or for the highly educated people. They have a concept of FIRE, what they call right now. It's not that way. People with any income can actually retire early. I've got now servants and maids also of some of my clients who are investing. 1,000 rupees a month, 5,000 rupees a month is what they are investing. I have told them if they continue the way they are investing, 20 years is all what they need. That's it. They are 20 years old, 25 years old just now investing that much money. That's the power actually. It can be done for anyone and everyone. What is required is discipline, not the amount of money which needs to be invested. Of course, if the goals are very large goals, then you need large amount of money.
Right.
But if the goals are just the normal goals what we have, then you really don't need that much. So that is one myth. Another myth is you have to be very frugal when you retire. That's also not true. If you have done things, you can spend as much as what your financial goals allow you. Retirement does not mean that you have to spend in less that time, etc. You can have your existing lifestyle also continuing, because the other things is that after retirement there can be other things like you may need assisted living. Right. And you may need some support there, which is going to be expensive. While you may not travel so much, but a lot of money will go towards your medical related needs. Correct. So then that needs to be planned. Otherwise there will be a dependence on children, and nobody wants to be dependent on anyone. So that's the debt elimination. Sometimes people say that once you retire you should be debt free. It all depends on the person. For example, I've been debt free for last 15 years because my mindset is such that I'm not happy with carrying a debt. Sometimes it may not be financially right also, but then it gets me that satisfaction. So not everything can be put into numbers. Sometimes having debt is also good, provided you are able to manage that debt well. Right. Debt for education purpose or for having an asset like a house is still a good debt. All the others are of course bad debts. But it all depends. If you're able to manage it, good. But if that provides you some kind of dissatisfaction or some kind of tension that so much debt is there, then everything is not money. Then you can explore that, and that's what I tell my clients as well. If you're not happy with the debt, close it. If that's what gets you the satisfaction. Then financial freedom does not mean there are no worries. There will be worries, but you'll be prepared to actually take care of those worries because you'll have some plans which you would have already done. So that way it can be considered. And other thing which many people forget when they are planning for financial freedom is to look at the power of compounding for inflation also. Many people do not consider inflation into account. And if you consider the normal inflation of 7 to 8%, what we have in India, what impacts us, whatever you are buying today, in 50 years to maintain the same lifestyle, you need 48 times that amount. Inflation brings down the value of your money to half every 10 years. So when what you are saying that this much is your expense today, right, over the few years, it's going to grow up a lot. It's going to compound. Many people ignore that inflation number into it when they are calculating. So that is a big myth when they say that I'm done. You have not considered what is going to be in the 30th year of your retirement. And that's going to be a lot of money that time. So broadly, I would say these are the myths. There are many more other than these also.
So what advice would you give to an individual who is having a transition from corporate to an entrepreneur?
Okay. Yeah, so it's been last 8 years I'm an entrepreneur, and I've seen some of the ways, things which are very important for people. So I would like to speak about them one by one. One of the things where most entrepreneurs fail, or where they shut down their profession, it's not because of their passion was less, their skills were less. That's not the reason, because as you would know, 90 to 95% of startups actually shut down. Right. It's not because their passion was less or their commitment to work was less. It's because they have not done their own personal financial planning. before they got into this. You have to first ensure that there is 1 year to 2 years of emergency money which is there, including the EMIs if you have got. That kind of money is required because things will not start generating money right from beginning. And the moment you get down to something where you're not earning, where there's no income, and initially there is not going to be anything. I remember my days when I started with zero AUM, with no assets, managing, the income was not there, and sometimes it was 15 rupees a month is what I used to get that time. Now I'm managing 200 crores of retail assets. So it has taken time to compound. And I have been debt free anyways, my goals were done. So that gave me enough confidence, and I was able to decide what is it I will not do. I feel that is more important than deciding what is it you would do. For example, I decided I will not go out and get clients. Clients will find me and they will come to me because I was financially free. Even if I don't earn from now onwards, I'm okay with it. So that brought the confidence, and people realize that they need to come to me. I'm not going to approach them. So then I got serious people who only actually speaking to me. So that was there. I decided I'm going to do things digitally, and that time things were not digital. Online platforms had just started. I was amongst the early adapters to that, and their manager actually had given me a one-on-one training session, who was managing everything because they were not early adapters. I realized that if I continue to do things physical, I will be there in a location and I can't move. Right now I work with people all over the world. And as I said, I get references from the place where I've stayed earlier. People don't even know, that I exist in the place where I'm sitting, where I'm staying right now. So that way I was able to decide some things I will do, some things I'll not do. Working from home right from beginning. This is the pre-COVID days. I decided I'm going to work from home. I have an office within the home. My staff members also work from their homes now. So it's very important to first do your own personal financial planning, because that is very important, because that really gets people to fail. Not the passion, because they have pressures of EMIs, etc. Societal pressures are there. Parents or in-laws will not understand that, and then there will be a pressure even from that side also, that why did you leave your high-paying job? In fact, I was also asked those kind of questions. I said, I'm going to, because I was confident that my goals are all done. They were not happy, though now they tell me what you did was right. But that time it was not actually seen very positive. So of course I had the support of my immediate family members. But then this, I would say, is the number one point. Second point can be a little controversial, wherein I say that you don't have a plan B when you get into it. Everyone talks about have an alternate plan. I feel an alternate plan makes you weaker, because if you know that there is no plan, then that also gets you the confidence. Once your financial planning is done and then you don't have any other plan, so that itself will give a lot of advantage, because people will be able to see the confidence. But if you have got a plan like, if things don't work in 3 years, I'm going to go back to my corporate job, most likely that's what will happen. I, in fact, deregistered myself from the websites, for jobs. Those days we used to have websites for jobs. The day I started my work, I didn't want to get any calls from there, because I knew I'm not getting back into that. I'm now going to do what I'm doing. And initially, people also may feel that, we don't know how long this person will be there. So there are some people who are coming to me now because they've seen me that 7 to 8 years I've not gone anywhere, and now they are approaching me. So my sense is, not having a plan is a good plan. Then that will actually force you to get into something. Another big thing is, entrepreneurship should not be considered as an outlet because you want to run away from somewhere. You've had a bad relationship with your boss, it's creating you stress, and you say, I want to start on my own because I don't want to do that. At least I don't have to see the person's face. It should not be seen as an outlet. It should really be something what you want to do, and then get onto it full time. So that's there. Investing in yourself, I have been getting into education right from beginning, my own education. So I'm a member of various panels actually, wherein I spend money to get myself educated. Firstly, I got myself certified as a financial planner because I wanted to do it in a structured manner. So that was there. Every year I pay a lot of money actually for my own education because I feel that is needed, because finance is an ever-changing industry. Every day we have changes, and I need somewhere where I can get the summary of, in terms of what all is happening. So I don't see it as a cost. I see it as an investment in myself. So anything what you do, you have to keep yourself upgraded, because these days there are a lot of other things available, like people can invest directly through direct plans, etc. And they may not want to go to somebody, because it's going to be a little expensive. So that will happen only when you're not able to add that value. So like when I speak to people, I tell them upfront, it's there on my website also, that if you want to do yourselves, there is that plan which is cheaper plan, but then you're on your own completely. Otherwise you come to me. I tell them the first meeting itself, and maybe 95% of the people have actually returned back to me. And they said, no, we want to work with you. Because if they don't see the value add, then they will not come. Because these days implementation is easy, but where to do, how to do I would say is easy, but where to do and how much to do in that category, that's what really needs that expertise. So I would say that is pretty important. And then there is a domain authority which you need to create. When people search you on the internet, they should find information about you. And the way I have created that is through my books now. There is this Google indexing which happens, and those lot of interviews are there. I'm on the panel of Economic Times every second or every third day. There are my views actually which are getting published. So that domain authority has happened, which of course it takes a little time, but then that is something which is very important. So people have to see you. I'm there on social media, not for acquiring clients, but if somebody is searching for me, they find enough information about me. So that way I would say it's very important, because otherwise people will not know. They have to talk about what you do, only then people will know. Otherwise these days there's so much of information and misinformation also that people will not find. So unless you mention about it, you're not selling, but you're mentioning about yourself, and then let people make the judgment whether you are good enough for that or not. But if you don't speak about it, then people will not even know that you exist in this market.
Correct.
So I would say that is very good, especially in our kind of business where trust is very important, because we are managing people's money. It is the referrals obviously which is very, very important for us. And that's what really happens, because what really happens is that person who has referred has done the marketing about you. Now what you need to do is you just need to talk to the person, understand their pain areas, and provide them solutions. You don't have to talk about anything. And in fact, in my first meeting, there is no discussion on products. It's basically what are the pain areas, what are the goals for people, and work towards that, and just discuss on that. So the moment they see that this person is not selling, that this person is understanding what I need, then the trust factor also develops. And then people, if they don't reach out to me, maybe once, twice, thrice, I do follow up. What happened to our conversation? If they don't reach out to me, I just put it as postponed category. Whenever they are ready, they are going to get back. There are people who get back to me after 4 years, 5 years also, because they've had some personal problems on the way, or they have made mistakes by going on their own, and they realize it's not that easy. Then they come to me. So I just put it into the postponed category. When they come back to me, I bring them back into the active category, to have all the conversation. Yeah. So that's what I would say, other things which you need to be aware about, for any entrepreneur, that it's a journey. It is not going to change overnight, but once you have your things in place, once you have decided what you don't want to do, what are your values, etc. Once you have decided on that, and there's a plan towards working towards achieving what you're doing, and as I said, not having any alternate plan, just having one plan and then just going ahead with that. that really gets a confidence, and then the things take time to establish. It's not going to happen immediately, especially when you're starting from zero, because you get enough money when you're working, you get salaries there, but then entrepreneurship is something very different. There is no money in the beginning.
Correct.
But eventually it really helps, and you're really able to make much more, and more so in what you enjoy doing it. So that's how things really happen.
Thank you, sir, for your valuable time and your valuable insight about the financial planning to an individual and the journey from corporate world to entrepreneurship. We had a great time to having you on. Thank you for being at JBIMS again, and stay tuned for the next episodes at JBIMS Wealth Creators Podcast.